How's it going, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to model this very simple shape with a beautiful round corner. And although it looks pretty simple, but you still need quite a bit of work in order to get it done properly. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a total 7 different ways of how to do this type of thing. And without further ado, let's get started. Now, first thing, we're going to adding a plane. Shift A to adding a plane. Click here, and then we're going to change this to the viewport. And then if you wanted to change the shape of this particular plane, so you can do directly under the object mode right now. Hit S to hit Z to do that, and you can do so. But I recommend to go to the edit mode in order to change the shape and ratio, because we don't need to do a actual work to apply the scale. Hit S and Z to do that. Just drag it out and click this. And then if you want to be perfect, you can change this to 2. So this is just a 1 ratio that we want to have. And if we go down here, we're still seeing the scale is being 1, 1, 1. So which means it's good. Okay. If not, if you did this operation or changing the shape under the object mode, you need to do Control A to apply the scale in order to making sure this scale is all in 1 ratio. Anyway, this is small tips. You will see this problem very often. So, and go to the edit mode. Now we are going to bevel all these corners in order to have a round shape. So the first method, or the first shape we are going to do, is using 3 segments. So just drag a box, select all these vertices, hit the Control B and the V key to bevel the vertices, okay? And then at the same time, don't release the mouse yet, and to scroll the middle mouse button, you can just adding more vertices as the way you want. So it doesn't really matter at this moment, you can just click that. And then we have a box on the left hand side. Now this is our perfect time to change that. So the first 2 method, I'm going to using a 3 segment. So I'm just going to change that to 3, and then making sure you remain the shape as 0.5. Okay, some of videos I do that with 1, but this time I want to have like a round shape. So I'm making sure you just put 0.5. That will work. Okay, everything works just fine. And then we can left click and click out. So in order to have a proper typology, everything's supposed to be in quad, which means 4 edges boxes. Okay, so we can do here, just select these 2 vertices, hit J to join this, and then J, hit J. And then next, we are going to see 2 ways. One is just connecting these 2 vertices, and then this, although it looks like, although this is not a perfect rectangular or anything, but this is a quad. So basically this is done. So we can just join these together. And this is finished one. So you can adding a subsurface modifier, Control 2 levels. You see the shapes has been created. And then you can go to the side view, hit the E and Y, just adding some thickness going on here. And then next, hit Control R, adding a loop cut, and then Control B to bevel, and just kind of push some edges on the side. And now we have a pretty beautiful shape like this. Okay, so although you can see that the corner is not that straight, so what we can do here, we can actually adding some loop cut to making sure this is straight. Otherwise, this is a long box. What we can do here, Control R, click, and Control B to bevel it. So you can adding some supporting loops down here. Okay, now it looks much better straight. Same thing on this side as well. Control R, adding some loop cut, and do that. So now this has been properly done. Okay, this is the first example. Okay, hit G, X to grab it on the side. I just put it on the over here. Okay, we can do another way. Shift A to adding a plane, right? And to the viewport, and go to the edit mode, S, Z, just drag it up and put it 2. And this time, I'm going to save some of these shapes, and now I can quickly done over. Tap it out, object mode, Shift D to duplicate it, hit X, Shift D, X. So I'm just gonna select these two, drag it on the side. So this time I'm still going to using the 3 segment. So select everything else, Control B and V key to bevel it, and then come down here, making sure you select 3 segment. Now it's all good. And the width, I didn't recording how much I use for this one, but you can definitely change the number with this width in order to have a consistent bevel width. So this time I'm just going to put 0.3 to be accurate. Okay, so that's all good, and hit enter. And then what we can do this time is we are using still same method. Select these 2 vertices, hit J to join it. Same thing here, hit J and J. And earlier we're just connecting these 2 using the vertical line. So this time I'm going to using a straight line down here to join these 2. So it's still working. So you see, as you can see here, we still have all these quads are ready for this. And of course, we can just adding a couple loop cut and to making sure this has been properly done. So this is one thing, solutions that we can do using 3 segment when you bevel the corner. Hit G, X, I'm just gonna push this on the side. Okay, so cool. So let's go to the next method using 4 segment. Okay, and then go to the tab, go to the edit mode, and this time Control B, V, bevel it, and I'm going to change this to 4 segment. I'm just going to still want to use the 0.3 meters for the width of the bevel, so it's all good. Hit click, and then what we can do here, just connecting the points. Hit J to join it, and same thing here. Hit J to join it. And the next thing you can do, pretty easy, is basically just join these 2, and then it's all done, right? It's going to be like vertices for full quads. Although this looks alright, cool, but it maybe have a little bit challenging time. So when you adding things, when later on we want to have a loop cut around there, it's not that easy to edit on. But if you want to have quick, easy solutions for this, it's still working. But I'm just providing some solutions for you to think about a typology when you're working with corners. Okay, so this is still working just fine, and then you can just hit EY to adding some thickness as other options. So that's still working. Control 2 to have some bevel, and then you can have a Control R to adding some loop cut and to supporting the shape. Okay, shape smooth. So still working just fine. I think there are other better solutions, but it is a good practice to think about the typologies when you're working within this very simple shape. This is also the whole point of this tutorial series, just trying to give you guys to have some small practice when you're working with typology. Okay, same thing, Control R, adding some loop cut, support the shape, Control R, and then that is one thing is done using the 4 segment when you bevel the corner. Okay, so then let's do one more. So this time go to the edit mode, Control B and V to do that, and change it to 4 segment and 0.5. Okay, enter. So this time we are going to do something a little bit different. So let's go Control, select these 2, J, and still similar method to join these lines. And now what we can do next, we can just simply select these 2, and this one and this one, hit J. So now again, this corner particularly, everything is in quad. So basically this is one solution for this corner as well. So you can certainly try this, and this is very easy to memorize and pretty easy to operate as well. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this one. So as you can see here, that doesn't look bad at all. Control R, adding some loop cut. Okay, Control R, adding a couple more. So that should be good. So that is one solution. The reason why I'm adding some support loops is just trying to getting the lines to get straighter, because otherwise it's going to subsurface modifier is going to really even out the long strip of rectangular corner on here, so it doesn't look very good. Cool. Control 2, so you still can do that, and then adding some thickness, EY, right, and then adding some bevel, support loop, and then that's all good. Shade smooth, looking all right, right? So you see that there are tiny differences back around here when you working with different way to solving the same solutions, but these are just options, okay? And then let's do one more for 4 segment. Shift D, just getting this back up, GX. And we are still using the 4 segments when we bevel this corner. So this time, we're going to go to edit mode, Control B to bevel it, V, and making sure it's 4 segment, and we're going to do 0.3. Right, and I believe probably this one I did it wrong because I'm using 0.5, but anyway, and this is the 0.3 I'm trying to accomplish. Come back to the edit mode. So this time I'm going to do things a little bit different, and I'm going to select everything, hit A, and hit I key to insert it. So I'm already having this corner kind of save it up and bevel it, and then I'm just going to join the inner loop cut to having this properly done. Hit J to join it and select these two, hit J. Now after I join these 2 lines, I'm going to select these 2, just hit J to join it, and this finish this corner in this way. So you see that it's a beautiful quad around the corner and maintain the good shapes, and also in the inner section you still have pretty nice looking of a grid of looking, because each space have pretty decent areas to cover, so pretty even, I think. So this is kind of one way that I personally prefer to do. So you can definitely finish this by joining all these other corners like that. J, J, J. Oh, sorry. These 2, J. Okay, so all the corners, everything is in quad. Of course, you need adding some support loop, Control R, to getting even support. Okay, cool. So this is another thing and that you can do to building this shape. Same thing again, hit A key, EY, getting some thickness, and Control 2 to adding 2 levels of subsurface modifier, and then Control R, adding some loop cut, Control B to bevel it, push on the side, and then shade smooth. Pretty nice and beautiful, right? Yes. Pretty similar shape, and just different method to solving the same issues around the corner. So that is easy, right? Then let's move to the next level. Okay, we are going to using the 6 segment. So definitely Shift D to make a duplicate, and then what you can do is to start thinking about how are you going to solve this simple issues, and by thinking about creating quads using proper topology. Control B, V to bevel it, and then to getting this is 0.3, and let's go with 6 this time. Usually I'm trying to getting an even number of segments, so that is much easier to do, but earlier the first one examples I'll be using the 3 segment, so that is a exception. So usually trying to getting 2 even numbers on segment, that'll be much easier. So of course we're going to creating some lines, hit J to join it, and then to select these one, J, and then obviously for this one we can do something a little bit creative or simpler. We can just simply do select this one and join that, right? Because we have 6 segments, so basically everything is in quad now, Though it looks like a triangular, but it's all in quad. So this is a pretty easy way to start with this. So I'm just going to do that. Personally, I'm not a fan of this way to solving the typology on this particular shape, simply because this is called the pole. So which means that one point actually linked to several different edges. So this is not quite good unless this vertex is only going to stay on a flat surface, which means what we're having now. This is looking just fine because it's on a flat surface. If I'm going to select everything, hit EY to creating a shape, it's not a really big issue with it because it's going to remain flat. If I'm adding a subsurface modifier, it's going to be just all right. Control R, and if I'm adding some support loop on the side, so it wouldn't affect anything around here. So it's still all right. And Control R, adding some loop cut. Shade smooth. So I think it's okay, but it's not that perfect, I think, just because this is like still a triangle kind of shape, and it's not that beautiful, the smooth on that corner, but still it's okay, it's working. Then let's go to the very last one, which is the most complicated one, but also the working the best way to do this type of thing. And I'm going to go to the edit mode and Control BV again, this time 6 and 0.3. Let's do that. Click that. So this time I'm going to select everything on the corner and hit I to insert it. So now I'm already having small corner on the side and kind of like protecting this beautiful curve. And then I'm going to using this method to giving some support. Simply just did what I have done earlier. You can certainly using mirror modifier, but for me, I'm just going to using this way to make everything much easier to understand. Okay, so what you can do here now, because it's the inner section and is actually protecting the outer layer already, so we can just join these two as well and hit J. Okay, so everything is in quad, right? And it's actually a good topology, and as the way we want it to have when we're building any shapes and models. Okay, so if any of you guys already start seeing this shapes that looks very familiar, and you are correct. This is very common to use when people actually building the iPhone case, right? And to modeling this shape. And so this is a good starting point to having this. And now, since we have our thing here, we're just going to hit edit mode, select everything, and EY to getting some thickness going on here. And then we can do Control R, adding some bevel and support loop. Control B to bevel it out to push on the side. So we can do that. And then Control 2 to adding a subsurface modifier. Looks pretty nice and beautiful, right? And shade smooth. And we can certainly adding some loop cut as well as needed. It doesn't have to be that much, but that's just the way I wanted to prefer to do. So we can see that the beautiful edges and very nice and soft, and also have remained pretty good shape. So you can see that we have quite a bit way to solving this one same problem, although this one's supposed to be 0.3 again. But you can see that the going through this small practice, when you're seeing typology, you have a lot of ideas and thinking method to do this. My homework from this tutorial, I'm hoping you guys to creating something within 6 segments to resolve this typology using your own method. To try your best to think about another way to do this beyond all these things I have shown you in this tutorial, and I cannot wait to see your result. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.